Hey guys, welcome back to The Mind of Brandon, and welcome back to another Sexy Saturday. Today I'm going to be responding to this idea that the women I'm interested in are just out of my league. But yeah, this is something that I often see in the comment sections of videos where I've talked about my total utter lack of success with the ladies. A lot of people have felt compelled to diagnose why it is I'm not having any luck with the ladies, which, by the way, you guys don't need to do that. I've actually got a pretty good idea what kind of issues I'm up against. But yeah, a lot of people in their attempts to help me have gone into my comment sections to tell me things like, well, the problem here is you're just not very attractive, right? You need to work on your looks, right? Some people have gone as far as to say that I'm just downright ugly, right? But yeah, I'm hearing all manner of, the women you're going after, the kind of women that you're interested in are just way out of your league. But when it comes to gauging physical attractiveness, I can't really take the concept of leagues all that seriously. While it is true that there are certain physical attributes that are generally more sought after by more people than other attributes, it's also true that we have different tastes, different preferences, different attitudes about what even qualifies as physically attractive. As the saying goes, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's not just cultural rhetoric, that is actually demonstrably accurate. I remember back when I was in junior high, I had a couple guy friends that used to talk about this girl that they shared a class with. I guess she sat next to them or something like that, and they spent a bunch of time talking with her. But basically these two dudes decided this chick was super hot. They both wanted to fuck her. They talked about her a lot. And when I finally got to see what this girl actually looked like, I remember thinking, oh my god, she's fucking hideous. Why do they think she's so fucking hot? It didn't make any sense to me. I had absolutely no attraction to this woman, but they thought that she was absolutely gorgeous. That being said, once upon a time, I had a bit of a celebrity crush on an actress by the name of Ellen Page, perhaps more specifically for her role as Kitty Pryde or Shadowcat in the movie X-Men 3. But yeah, I thought she was absolutely gorgeous in this movie. I went to the internet, got a bunch of pictures of her, put her on my computer, had her as, my background image on the computer. But this friend of mine came over and, he saw that I had her as the background image. He's like, why? Why do you have this girl on your computer background? And, I explained to him how super smoking hot she is. And he gets a skeptical look on his face. He's like, I don't know, dude. She looks pretty plain to me. And of course, one of the things I talked about in a previous video is how I don't like it when women wear a lot of makeup. But some guys actually like that shit. I remember once upon a time I heard these two dudes talking about this chick who, does wear some makeup, right? One of them's talking about how hot she is. The other one says, nah, she doesn't wear enough makeup. This is a girl that wears makeup, but he's saying she doesn't wear enough. Right? Yeah, just recently there was this video I was watching on YouTube. This guy said that women have to wear makeup in order to look good. That I definitely don't fucking agree with. And that's the whole point. We disagree. We have different attitudes about what even qualifies as attractive, right? We have different preferences. So if I encounter a woman that I deem to be mildly attractive, but she's not at all attracted to me, does that mean that she's out of my league? No, it just means I'm not her type. There's going to be other women who I will be their type, and some of them will, in my opinion, be perfect 10s. But, of course, it does take more than a mutual attraction for two people to wind up fucking each other. And this is something I recently tried to explain to someone in the comment section of one of my videos, how, in situations in the past where there has evidently been a mutual attraction between me and someone else, the reason I wasn't able to move from that initial attraction into fucking is because I just didn't conduct myself right. I didn't do what needed to be done to get from here to there. I fucked up. And to give this guy an example, I told him about this time that I like walked past this pretty attractive woman who complimented me on what I was wearing. She said that she liked my style. So what did I do? I thanked her and I kept walking. Or in other words, I fucked up. What I should have done is stopped and talked to her. In fact, just recently, I was shopping at this clothing store at the mall wearing pretty much, I think I was wearing exactly what I'm wearing right now, except I had more of a beard going at the time. But I was buying this yellow polo, and there was this pretty girl who was working behind the front counter. And, I was explaining to her how happy I was that I finally found a yellow polo in my size. I'd been looking for one so long, I've been having so much trouble finding it, but I finally found it, right? And, she starts kind of playing with her hair. She says to me, well, what you're wearing right now looks pretty good, right? So what did I do in that situation? Well, I thanked her, paid for the shirt, and I took off. I could have said something to her like, are you flirting with me? You want my phone number, right? I could have just, sat there and flirted with her for a while, made some kind of move on her, asked her to dinner, whatever. I didn't do any of that. So just because I'm not having any luck with the ladies, it doesn't mean that the women I find attractive just never find me attractive. It's just that whenever I do encounter women with whom there's a mutual attraction, I've always fucked it up. But after I try to explain this to the guy in my comment section, he starts trying to convince me that the women that I thought were attracted to me were not actually attracted to me. They're just being nice to me. Come on, I couldn't possibly actually be attractive to attractive women. I'm just not tall enough. I just don't have enough muscle mass. I don't have enough money. How could I be attractive to them? But of course, that's not how it actually works. I've got an amalgam of traits that are not going to be attractive to all women, but some women are going to like them. And I've seen absolutely no reason to think that the only women who are going to think I'm attractive are women that I'm not attracted to. Now, to clarify, just so there's no misunderstanding here, I am not trying to regurgitate the feel-good idealistic rhetoric that there's someone for everyone in this world. I'm actually quite open-minded to the possibility that there are people who are not going to have a mutual attraction with anyone. Totally open-minded to that as a possibility. Just saying that if such people do exist, I am definitely not one of them, okay? While there are going to be a lot of women that I find attractive who are not going to think I'm attractive, I do know for a fact that every now and then, at least once in a while, there's going to be a woman that I deem attractive who also finds me attractive. When this first became most abundantly evident to me was back in the 7th grade. That stage of development when the girls start becoming incredibly horny and boy crazy. They start dating and taking boyfriends and fucking. Girls at that age can, of course, be very assertive, going around trying to pick up guys that they find attractive, and I was one of the lucky few dudes who occasionally got approached by pretty girls, right? Girls who were trying to pick me up, right? There's at least a couple of times during lunchtime when, girls that I'd never met before, went to school with them, but we didn't have any classes together. They walked up to me, introduced themselves, hi, I'm Megan, or hi, I'm Ashley, and they were interested in getting to know me better. But I was never actually taught what to do in that kind of situation. So I swiftly fucked it up. I gotta say, there's something ironic about being a horny adolescent young man surrounded by horny adolescent young women in a place of education, yet receiving absolutely no education whatsoever in proper pickup. How do you properly court, date, seduce, maintain healthy relationships? How do you handle rejection? What do you do when you get approached by a hottie and you don't want to fuck it up? Got absolutely no education in those subjects whatsoever. Actually, what the adults were telling us back then is that we're too young for that, right? I'm too young to be fucking around with girls. Gotta wait until I'm older. So, unfortunately, Megan and Ashley walked away from their interactions with me feeling rejected. Even though I totally would have banged either one of them if I knew what I was actually fucking doing. But there was this other pretty girl in the 7th grade who sat next to me in my math class. Her name was Brienne. And, we would talk, we got along and had fun, seemed to have some semblance of chemistry. I was attracted to her, and she apparently was attracted to me. She actually asked me out. That's right. This pretty girl sat next to me in math class actually asked me out. Me. Huh? But I said no. Yep. I actually turned her down. Why? I mean, come on. She's hot. She's fun. There's chemistry. Who in their right mind would turn this girl down? Well, that's the thing. I was not in my right mind. My mind had been pumped full of a whole lot of cultural bullshit. And so because of this, I had developed an obsessive crush on this other pretty girl named Cassie. But why her? What was it that made Cassie so special? I mean, there's plenty of other pretty girls around. It's not like she's necessarily the hottest girl in school or anything like that. So why did I decide to choose her as the one that I would obsess over? Well, I think what it was is that I overheard a conversation where it was revealed that she was a fan of the show The X-Files, which was my favorite show on television at the time. So that's it. That settles it. She's the one. She's the one I'm supposed to be with. It's gotta be Cassie, right? I can't go dating around with other women. I have to be faithful to Cassie. Now, as much sense as this may have made to me at the time, in retrospect, I realize this is actually completely fucking retarded, right? I mean, Cassie and I hardly ever even spoke with each other. We had established no chemistry. There was absolutely no evidence whatsoever that she had any interest in me. There was no good reason for me to choose Cassie over Brienne, this beautiful girl that liked me enough and was brave enough to ask me out. But I can't be too hard on myself. This was way the hell back in the 7th grade, and it's not like I ever got a proper education in this stuff anyway. In fact, you could say I got a miseducation. On top of being indoctrinated with monogamous values, meet the one, find your soulmate, that kind of stuff, and this stuff about how I'm just a kid, so I'm not really supposed to be dating and fucking yet. On top of all that, I was also taught that a crush is perfectly normal, natural, and healthy. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's wrong. There is something wrong with having a crush. It's bad for the brain. Okay, I'd go as far as to say that a crush is a mental handicap. But if I was properly educated, then I would have never developed a crush on anyone. If I was properly educated, then the moment I realized I was attracted to Cassie, I would have made a move on her. I would have approached her without any insecurity, without any fear of rejection or judgment. Not that that would ensure that I wouldn't get rejected. It's possible she'd still reject my advances, but if I'm properly educated, instead of having an obsessive crush, then getting rejected is not such a big deal. It's the kind of thing that's easy to just shrug off and take the attitude, oh well, some girls don't like me, but some girls do, as evidenced by Brienne and Megan and Ashley. So if I was properly educated, I would have said yes when Brienne asked me out. Or maybe I would have asked her out first. If I was properly educated, then I wouldn't have been so shy, evasive, and paranoid when Ashley approached me and started asking me all sorts of questions. If I was properly educated, then I wouldn't have acted so rude and uninterested when Megan approached me. Hell, if I'd been properly educated, I could have fucked all those chicks. I could have fucked Megan. I could have fucked Ashley. I could have fucked Brienne. It's possible I could have even fucked Cassie if I'd been properly educated. Right? I could have lost my virginity in the 7th grade if I'd been properly educated. But since I was not properly educated, I wasn't really sure what to do about my crush on Cassie. Wasn't really sure how to proceed with that. So I just took my sister's advice. She told me to look her up in the phone book, give her a call, and talk to her. I wound up being pretty embarrassing. It kind of wound up seeming like I was calling her for no frickin' reason. It didn't change anything at school. Still wound up hardly ever talking to her, not really establishing any chemistry or getting any evidence that she was at all attracted to me. So not only did I fuck things up with all these pretty girls that were actually interested in me, but I wasn't able to move things forward with the girl that I had a crush on. But did I learn my lesson after that? No, it'd be many years before I learned my lesson. After the 7th grade, I didn't have any more classes with Cassie, so I just replaced my crush on her with a crush on another girl, right? And then over the years that followed, that became the pattern. I just replaced my crush on this girl with a crush on another girl, replaced my crush on that girl with a crush on another girl, right? It just kept going. And so, over those years, I kept screwing things up with pretty girls that were actually interested in me and screwing things up with my crushes because I didn't know what I was freaking doing. Even after graduating from high school and taking various pizza jobs, no longer having any classmates to crush on, I just found coworkers to crush on. And so again, it continued. Just the same mistake over and over and over again. Ruining things with pretty girls that were actually interested in me and ruining things with my crushes. But then finally, after years of heartbreak, years after graduating from high school, I finally figured out that this had to stop, right? I had to stop clinging on to one particular girl and saying, it has to be this girl. I can't go dating around with these other pretty girls that are actually interested in me. No, it's got to be this girl, right? I finally figured out that needed to stop. So I said, no more. No more crushes. No more. But while this epiphany has been saving me from further heartbreaks ever since then, that's pretty much the only way in which it has noticeably helped me. I mean, at the time that I had this epiphany, I was kind of in the train of thought that the only options that were available to me as far as women goes were maybe some of the women that I worked with, like if they weren't in a committed relationship with someone else, or maybe some of the customers, the girls who come in and buy pizzas. Maybe I'll run into one of them like outside of work and we'll have a moment of, oh, it's you, and we'll converse and maybe I can pick them up or something like that, right? So I still viewed myself to have a very limited selection that was actually available to me. But when I decided to go on the internet and start doing research into how to be more successful with women, that's how I came across the pickup artist community that's here on the internet. They kind of put in perspective, you really don't have this limited selection that's available to you. There's a whole world of possibilities. You can go to a mall and there'll be pretty girls all over the place that, if you got the balls to do it, you can walk up to them, strike up conversation, maybe walk away with a phone number or a date, whatever. So I've been trying to get good at this pickup stuff for several years now. It's the kind of thing where I'll feel like I'm making progress. I'll start approaching women more often, but then all of a sudden I'll regress. I'm not approaching women as often. It's hard to get the balls to approach a girl. So the pattern I'm dealing with right now is progress, regress, progress, regress, progress, regress. And so, over these years, despite all the countless women that I've approached, I've only been in 6 conversations that evolved to a point where I actually asked the girl for a phone number. And of course, I've only successfully gotten 1 phone number so far, and that's all I was able to successfully get from the girl. That being said, a good chunk of the women that I've approached, it hasn't even necessarily been with the intention of getting a phone number or whatever. A lot of the time, I'm just practicing, just trying to get better, trying to get more comfortable with it. Sometimes I find myself in this situation where it's like, wow, it's been a long time since I actually made an approach on a woman. So, I decided that all I'm going to focus on is making the actual approach and not worry about what comes after that, because worrying about what comes after that can be part of what adds to the approach anxiety. It makes it harder to get the balls to approach. But there's this one time where there was a girl that I was originally intending just to kind of like greet in passing. I wasn't actually intending to like stop and talk to her, but I said, hey, how are you? With the intention to just keep on walking. But she stopped when I greeted her, and so I was like, oh, she stopped. I'm gonna stop, right? So we stopped and talked. She seemed happy to be conversing with me. I was totally just blatantly flirting with her. She seemed happy with it. But I asked her like where she's from, and she told me the city that she was from, and I remember thinking, oh, that's a little too far away. And I actually wound up cutting the conversation shorter than she apparently expected. I could tell, based on the facial expression, when I decided to part ways with her, oh, okay, you have a good day. She seemed disappointed, like disappointed that I didn't like try to get a number or a date or just that I was ending the conversation when I did. She seemed like she was interested in me, and in retrospect, I feel like I should have like tried to get a number or a date or something. Hey, let's go hang out or whatever. I feel like I should have done more in that interaction than I did, but I can't take that back, right? All I can do is learn from the experience and try to do better the next time I find myself in that kind of situation. And then this other time, I was at a grocery store, and there was this pretty girl I was kind of following around. I was trying to see if she was wearing a wedding ring because I didn't want to like be hitting on somebody's wife. But finally, I decided to get the balls to approach her from behind anyway, and I said to her, so I've been trying to see if you're wearing a wedding ring. And she just absolutely burst into fucking laughter, right? She was, really happy that I'd approached her. She says, good for you actually approaching a girl. She goes on this rant about how guys in this area never do that. She seemed like she might have actually been kind of bitter about the fact that guys in this area are never approaching her, right? And, she thanked me, and she seemed interested. She's like playing with her hair and stuff. But then I made the mistake of asking her if she was single. She's like, well, now I've got a boyfriend. And because she had a boyfriend, I decided to cut the interaction short. Oh, well, congratulations, you and your boyfriend. Have a nice day, basically. And, she seemed like she wanted to keep talking, right? She seemed to think I was a really cool dude for approaching her. And, I guess I feel like I probably should have asked her for her phone number instead of asking if she was single. Because I feel like this particular girl would have given me a phone number despite not being single. I mean, you think about it, it kind of seems like maybe she was ready to line up a replacement for the guy she was with. I mean, she wants guys to be approaching her, so yeah, I feel like I kind of fucked up there. So, I think that's another great example of a situation where it's like, okay, me and this girl, we have this mutual attraction, and I just fucked it up. But anyway, the point here is that, if there's anyone who thinks they're giving me some reality check by telling me that the women I'm interested in are just way out of my fucking league, that's not reality. The reality of the situation is that every now and then there's going to be a woman with whom I have mutual attraction. It's just that so far, anytime I've been in that situation, I've managed to fuck up with the interaction. And of course, the reason I always fucked up with these interactions is because I didn't know what I was doing. Remember, as a kid, I had a complete lack of proper education and received instead a miseducation. Now that I'm an adult and am starting to receive at least some semblance of proper education, I actually still to this day occasionally receive some miseducation as well. Sometimes I get some advice that's just bad advice. Watching a bunch of different pickup artist videos, I've noticed that sometimes the various pickup artists will contradict each other. One of them will tell you, to do this, and then someone else will tell you, well, no, that's not a good idea, right? And so I've just had to kind of figure out through my own like trial and error experimentation who's giving good advice, who's giving bad advice, what is the good advice, what is the bad advice. So are the women that I'm interested in just out of my league? well, maybe experience-wise, but that's about it. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. If you're interested in watching my future videos, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next one. So have a good one, guys, and peace.